Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We will chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant from verses 6 to 10 of chapter 3. Karmendriyani sanyamya,
Karmendriyani sanyamya,
ya aste manasa smaran,
ya aste manasa smaran,
indriyartan vimudhatma,
indriyartan vimudhatma,
mithyachara sa uchyate,
mithyachara sa uchyate,
yastvindriyani manasa,
yastvindriyani manasa,
niyamyarabhaterjuna,
niyamyarabhaterjuna,
karmendriyai karmayogam,
Karmendriyai karma yogam,
asakta savishishyate,
asakta savishishyate,
niyatam kuru karmatvam,
niyatam kuru karmatvam,
karmajyayo hyakarmanaha,
karmajayo hyakarmanaha,
sharirayatra pichate,
sharirayatra pichate,
na prasidhyeda karmanaha,
na prasidhyeda karmanaha,
yajñarthat karmanonyatra,
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र
lokoyam karma bandhanaha,
लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः
tadartham karma kaunteya,
तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय
mukta sangha samachara,
मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर
सह यज्ञा प्रजा सृष्ट्वा
सह यज्ञा प्रजा सृष्ट्वा
पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः
पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः
अनेन प्रसविष्यद्वम्
अनेन प्रसविष्यद्वम्
येषवोस्त्विष्टकामधुक्
येषवोऽस्त्विष्टकामधुक्
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So in the last session, we were seeing the different dimensions of this word Mudaha and the practical relation to our sadhana. We were deriving various principles related to our life and also the various principles to increase the quality of our sadhana. That is very important. See, whenever you do something in life, when you start doing, you will not do it in a perfect way. The quality will be a little less only. But supposing you're doing that action for a long period of time, but in that period of time you have failed to improve the quality, the intensity, then that is wrong. Which means, if you continue to be the same person with the same faults, with the same limitations over a period of time, it is considered to be tamas, spiritual tamas. This is not applicable only in spirituality. This is applicable in any field. Growth means you make mistakes and then you correct them, and in that process you keep growing. Committing mistakes is never considered a big thing. But are you correcting those mistakes or not? Are you using that opportunity to correct yourself and grow? That is the question. So if you see in the schools and universities, this is a principle they follow. You answer a particular question in a subject. You make a mistake there. Then the teacher points out. Teacher says, see, this should be answered like this. This is the correct answer. This is the, if it mathematics means, this is the correct, this is the formula you need to apply. Now from that mistake you learn. And then when the next situation comes, you're more equipped. Again that question is asked, you're able to easily answer that. But if that question is asked in a slightly different way, then you may make some other mistake. Then again the teacher points out. This is called mastering a principle in a subtle way, because now you have applied the formula, but you have applied it in a wrong way. Here the question is different, so you need to do like this. So in this process of erring, not only the gross mistakes but also subtle mistakes and the correction of those, you grow in that field. So over a period of time, I would say every day there is a growth, but for you to see the change, it may take a while. Just as if you take a photograph of yourself now, and then if you take a photograph of yourself after 5 years, you will be able to see a distinct difference. But you have grown on a daily basis. Actually, every minute there is a change in the physical body. But we can't see that change. The tangible difference is not there. So similarly, when you do your sadhana, it's not that right from day one you will be able to do your sadhana in a perfect way. If you are able to do the sadhana in 100% perfect way, it means you mastered it. Actually, it means you've gone beyond the sadhana. So there is no point in blaming yourself there. Oh, I'm not able to follow the sadhana 100%, sir. Many people say that. Now, who asked you to develop that expectation? See, this is a very unrealistic expectation which you have, that I should be able to follow the sadhana 100%. I have received a question from a sadhak. He has just started attending these sessions, and he procured the Yoga Sankirtan audio material, and he started doing that sadhana. So what he has asked is very interesting. He says, I am unable to do my sadhana 100%. That word 100% has been stressed, So can you please give me some tips? For a baby to start balancing itself, that takes a while. First the baby learns to turn over, crawl, the crawling, the sitting is also there, and then only it stands up. And then the baby has to walk. And while walking, first it holds some object, a wall or something, and slowly learns to walk. It's a process. If you just try something for the first time and then say, I'm not able to do this 100%, that's a highly unrealistic expectation. I'm mentioning this, I'm taking up this question and answering because this will help all the sadhaks in any field you are. No doubt this question is pertaining to the spiritual sadhana, but this principle is applicable in any field. If you want to master something, you have to put in a lot of efforts. You will have to invest a lot of time, effort for a long period of time. The longer you put that effort, the more will be the mastery. Please understand this. To gain mastery over your mind is the most difficult thing in life. You can gain mastery over other skills. There itself it takes a long time. You will be making many unsuccessful attempts in the beginning. Now I'm calling them unsuccessful first to make you understand, but if you look at it from a yogic perspective, it is not that you're being unsuccessful. That is a process of growth. You make a mistake, you identify that mistake, you correct that, then you again apply yourself. Again there are so many mistakes you'll make. You correct, you identify those mistakes, you correct them, and this is the process of growth. So from a yogic perspective, what a normal person calls as a failure is not a failure. It is a process of growth. Please understand this carefully, because this will remove all your frustrations. See, you already have a lot of issues. Now on top of that, you are adding on to the worries, by saying I'm unable to do the sadhana properly. So fix a time, preferably in the early hours of the morning, and stick to that discipline. But then thereafter, what happens during sadhana and all that, you do not really have any control over that. As long as you are sincerely applying yourself, as long as you have that humble attitude, you have surrendered to the Guru Shakti, and you are sticking to that discipline, it is a question of time. You are bound to slowly learn and master the subtleties, the nuances of the sadhana. It cannot come in day one itself. That is why in the yogic approach, we see the different dimensions of the various principles and eke out the sadhana messages. So when you take those sadhana messages and practice them, they are bound to increase the quality of your sadhana over a period of time. See, the sadhana is one only, but the intensity and the quality will keep on increasing. So the real tamas is if you stop putting in your sincere effort, number one. And number two, if you don't identify your mistakes and correct yourself, then also it is a state of tamas. If you are unwilling to identify your errors, your mistakes, and correct yourself, then growth is not possible. So that is what you should be doing. So there is a message to all the sadhaks, no point in getting impatient. Just to learn a particular skill like learning to play the violin or the flute, vocal singing, classical singing. You take any art, it takes many years of practice. The same artist, when he or she would have been 30, that time itself they'll be giving concerts. They'll be giving, they'll be on stage playing or singing. But you see them when they are performing when they are at 50, there will be a lot of difference. More depth would have come. So, for some reason, when it comes to spirituality alone, people look for shortcuts. See, people who look for shortcuts can never grow. They will never master any skill in a deep way. More so in spirituality. So today, spirituality is being marketed because of this weakness which the human mind has. It wants immediate benefits, shortcuts. So there are a lot of fake courses in the name of spirituality, fake practices. And they promise you, immediate growth. Some people even say you don't need to put in any effort. The Guru will take care and all that. No less a person than Lord Krishna himself, Swayam Bhagavan, he himself says that is not possible. why should he spend so much time in giving out the Bhagavad Gita if some magic is possible? Yes, this is the magic. When you put in the right kind of efforts, if you are very sincere, you will get the fruits. And remember, anything which you get without putting any effort will not last, because you will not know the value of it. You will invariably squander it away. That is why when youngsters inherit a good amount of wealth from their parents, I always advise them, don't immediately start using that wealth. Instead, learn to be very simple, learn to be humble, and see the ups and downs of life by yourself. As a backup, the inheritance is always there. But without your effort, if you just merely take it, what will happen is that after a while you will not be able to maintain it. You will squander everything away. Recently means around 8 months back, I would say, there was a youngster who was telling me, it was very interesting. His father already has 3 houses. But what his father had told him was that, I will not give you even 1 house unless and until you put in efforts and you buy your own house. So this boy asked me, he said, sir, is this fair what my father is doing? Because if I put an effort and when I get my house, then I don't require a house from him. He says, at that time I'll give you. What is this? Then I explained to him, I think your father is a kind of a philosopher. What he's doing is right. Because if he gives you all that wealth to you, you will not have any value for that, because you have not put in that hard work. So you will take it easy, you will get into a state of tamas, and whatever you have will go away. That is why he is insisting and saying, you put an effort and you get something on your own, you achieve something, then this will be a further value addition. So in spirituality, we always follow that principle. We go to a guru, when we go to the master and get his blessings, we receive a lot of divine energy. But as a sadhak, you should not be dependent on the divine energy from the master to grow. You should put in that effort on a daily basis. You should do your sadhana. And for a person who is willing to help himself or herself, the Guru Shakti and the divine grace will flow and add more value. But you can't expect the Guru Shakti to flow into your life if you are not willing to play your part, if you are not willing to put in your effort in a patient way. Don't just put efforts for a few days and then say, oh, I'm not getting results. There are people who are doing the tapas, the sadhana for many years. That is a price which you need to pay. So, when we talk of this word mudaha, I was giving you the various dimensions. One is foolishness, then the other, there is stupidity, the other is ignorance, then the third is confusion, being bewildered, confounded. So all these things we were seeing, being infatuated. That is, infatuation means becoming a slave, the tendency to depend on other things or other people for your happiness. There is nothing wrong with possessing anything you want. There is nothing wrong in interacting with anyone you want. There is nothing wrong in enjoying any experience. But the moment you become dependent on any object or any person for your happiness, which means if that object is there, I am happy. If that object is not there, I am unhappy. My mind loses its calm. Then that is the state of infatuation. He says, modaha. Vimodaha means extreme infatuation. See, in all these dimensions, I'm only explaining modaha. So you need to add the prefix vi. Vimodaha. Vimodaha means in its extremity. Now, one of the interesting thing which I was telling you about, when it comes to being confused and all that, the two aspects. One is the level of calmness of your mind, and the other is your decision making, the level of clarity of your intellect. These two are very, very important factors in your life. So again, you should not expect immediate results when you do your sadhana. You keep on doing. Over a period of time, you will find your mind becoming more and more calm and your intellect will become more and more sharp. It happens in stages. See, earlier, let us say many things, small things may be throwing your mind off its balance. It could be very silly things, petty things. Like there is a change of weather, or some small thing has gone wrong in your life. So immediately you may get so upset. But when you keep doing your sadhana regularly, you will first get into a state where these small pinpricks of life don't bother you anymore. You gain the ability to be calm, composed and happy in spite of these small inconveniences. That itself shows you have grown. And then as you keep growing further, the different challenges of life, see, when we can grade the challenges of life, small pinpricks, and then 10% challenge, 20% challenge, 30%, like that it can keep going. Ramatita, he gives a beautiful example. He says, what is the loss of a pen to you? Just as an example he gives. Supposing you lose a pen, how disturbed will your mind be? You may search for it here and there. If you don't get it, you're going to buy another one. It will disturb you, but very less. Then he says, okay, your pen is there, but what is the loss of a car to you? Supposing you lose your car. Now how disturbed do you become? You will be quite a bit disturbed. There is nothing right or wrong about this. We are only analyzing the condition of the mind. Now he further keeps going. What is the loss of more wealth to you? What will be the loss of property for you? Like that, if you keep on going, what is the loss of a person whom you are moving with closely? What would be your state of mind if you lose that person? Like this, if you grade, each one will have what he calls as the breaking limit. So when you do your sadhana, your breaking limit will go on increasing. So first the small pinpricks of life will stop bothering you. Then the next level of challenges will stop bothering you. If you keep doing your sadhana for few more months, then the third level of challenges will stop bothering you. Then you keep on doing your sadhana for many years, the further higher levels of challenges will stop bothering you. So that is how the level of mental calmness will increase till you go to that infinite calmness, infinite happiness, wherein anything can happen, but you remain in a supreme state. Till you reach that state of Sthita Prajna, this is the process of growth. It doesn't happen overnight. Similarly, the level of clarity also. It's not that as soon as you do your sadhana now you will become very clear and you're excellent decision makers. Not like that. Gradually it happens. Your awareness will go on increasing. Your intellect will become more and more sharp. So initially, your awareness will be available to you only after you commit a mistake. There are people who are at such a level where even after committing a mistake, they don't realize it. That is a real state of tamas. But as you do your sadhana, what will happen is, I did this mistake, all that will start coming out, the guilt. No problem, you keep on releasing. So whenever you commit a mistake, after that you realize. This is the first stage. And then as you progress in your sadhana, you will find that your awareness or intellect, the clarity, will become available to you when you are committing a mistake. As you are committing a mistake, you will know that this is wrong, but you may not be able to control yourself. So when you keep on doing your sadhana, as you are committing a mistake, you will become aware and then stop your mind. You will stop yourself. It means you have grown, your willpower has grown. Then when you keep doing your sadhana more and more, before you commit a mistake itself, the awareness, the intellect will be available to you. It will be a guiding factor. As Shakespeare said, let thine own discretion be thy tutor. Discretion means the intellect, the clarity. But he never said how to now improve that faculty. It is only through the sadhana. So when your clarity, when your awareness, intellect is available with you all the time, then you are in a very good position to take the right decisions in life. So it's a gradual growth. It doesn't matter if you make mistakes here and there. As long as the mistakes are not too costly, you can keep learning and growing. That's why in major things, major areas of your life, it's better to consult a higher intellect. That is what the master is also there for, to ensure that your mistakes are not too costly. But otherwise, it's a beautiful learning process. So when you keep on doing your sadhana, the confusions and perplexities of life will start reducing. Your mind will start becoming more and more calm. Your intellect will start becoming very sharp. And for a person who is equipped with these two factors, calmness of mind and a sharp intellect, it makes that person very powerful. See, why we are harping on developing these faculties through sadhana is because if you're given a sharp intellect and a calm mind but your motives are wrong, then you may misuse those powers. So through sadhana, side by side, you also purify yourself. You ensure that your motives are not to harm anyone, rather to do good to yourself and to others. Now, what is interesting is another dimension of mudaha. Mudaha means being silly. Being silly in the sense, from a high spiritual point of view, a master does not view life in a very serious way. Even the greatest of sins which are being committed, now that also a master looks at all that as silly actions only. Because if the person knows the consequences of what a negative action can be, then that person will not perform that. The consequences on him. When a person understands the law of karma, that if I do this action, it can harm me tremendously, then why would he do it? He will not do it. That is why he uses the word silly. Modaha means very, very silly. It's like you have millions and millions of wealth, but you're using only pennies. It's like that. I told you, when I was explaining to you about human potential, you have a super latest computer with you, but you're using it like a calculator. Then you would say that person is being very silly. So in that spirit, modaha means being very silly. Whenever you don't live up to your potential, understand that it is a very silly thing which you're doing. Modaha also means being dull. See, when you don't live up to your potential, when you don't exercise your faculties properly, your whole life becomes dull. Your personality itself becomes dull. What gives the brightness to a person is growth. When there is no growth, there will be stagnation and slow decay. When a flower is blooming, it is very bright. But the day it stops blooming, from that day the withering happens. It is the same thing with respect to your personality also. As long as you are growing every day, you will be very fresh. This has nothing to do with age. See, age is only with respect to the physical body. But when it comes to your inner faculties, your mind, if you maintain the spirit of growth, then you will be very, very fresh. Now, the scientists are also saying the same thing. They are saying there are certain portions of the brain which can be regenerated. They say the hippocampus, which is the center of learning in the brain, that can grow at any age. They discovered this a few years back. Our yogis say that everything can grow. So the day you stop this process of growth, you have a kind of a tamasic sense of contentment. See, contentment is a very powerful quality when it is applicable, when you apply it the right way. But if it is a kind of a tamasic, lazy contentment, if you stop growing, it will not stop with that. You will start decaying. See, suppose when water is flowing, it is very fresh. The moment the water starts stagnating, after a while you see it would have gathered a lot of moss, a lot of dirt. But the flowing waters are always fresh. So when you are always flowing, when you are always growing, your whole personality is very fresh. Your tejas, spiritual tejas keeps on growing. So if you are in a state of vimudaha, if you are a vimudhatma, which means you are not growing spiritually, then what happens to your personality? It will start becoming very, very dull, which is what they call as nishteja. That state is called nishteja. Nishteja means the tejas has gone. Tejas means the spiritual brilliance has gone. Interestingly, when you start focusing on growth, you will never get bored in life. See, why this dullness sets in is when you stop growing, then you life itself becomes very boring. On a day-to-day basis, if you take your whole life as a game, yes, I'm here to perfect myself. I'm here to gain mastery over my own mind. So every day, a few mistakes you make, you correct yourself. If you have achieved certain goals, then you fix further higher goals. Like that, you are constantly engaging yourself in the process of growth. Now you will find that life becomes very, very interesting. To be very frank with you, after so many years, 35 years of being full-time full-time in spirituality, especially the scriptures and all that, till now, I have never found it boring. See, it's the same scripture. Actually, one word we are going for many weeks also sometimes. But every time you go to it, it unfolds a new dimension. It is a growth. It keeps on inspiring you. That is what is a true spiritual life. That is the life of a yogi. Whereas, see, we are now comparing yogi versus a vimodhatma. A vimodhatma's life becomes very dull. That is that's an important dimension of moda. So if you say, I am so bored, there is nothing to look forward in life, the moment you say that, then you should sit and analyze, what is happening in my life? Apply this dimension of vimoda. Oh, somewhere I have stopped growing. That is why the dullness has set in. Many people say that, sir, no, I'm finding it so boring. I have nothing to look forward in life. This is a common complaint I hear. You have nothing to look forward because you've stopped growing. As far as the spiritual life is concerned, there is no retirement. The retirement age and all that which I have fixed is for external work. But you can always engage yourself in something which is very interesting for you. That is all up to you. It's in the mind only. Please reflect on this point. Today you're going behind so many gadgets and this and that. Why? Because you say, otherwise my life is boring. That is not true spirituality. A spiritual person, his or her consciousness is always bright. He is always alive. There is so much of life in that person. Not a dull, insipid personality. So that is another powerful dimension of moda. Another interesting dimension of moda. These dimensions are very useful for you in terms of your sadhana. That is why I'm mentioning them. Incidentally, if the same word moda comes in some other context, the same dimensions may be explained to you in different ways also. It all depends upon the context only. See, moda means mistaken, an error, committing an error. So, on one hand, when he says vimodatma, it sounds harsh, but the deeper dimension of moda is a person who has erred. Vimodatma means a person who has committed an error. By mistake, we say, inadvertently doing something. So that itself shows a spirit of non-judgmentality of a master. Externally it looks like a harsh word, but if you go deep within, what you call as a sin and all that, a master does not look at it from a very judgmental point of view. It is okay, you committed a mistake, it's an error. Now you keep correcting yourself and you move on. There is no judgment in that process. There is no labeling. That is why uh, a student feels very comfortable with the Guru. Whatever faults he has, he doesn't try to hide. A true student. When the student does not understand the depth of a master, when he is not attuned properly, then only he'll try to hide. Because what is there to hide? A master is highly non-judgmental. He'll never conclude and label a person. So even if you commit the so-called great sins and all that, he says, from a spiritual point of view, it is an error only. Fine, you made that mistake. Now you correct yourself. The correction process may vary depending upon the intensity of the mistake. Sometimes it may be few days, sometimes few months, sometimes few years also. That does not matter. But the correction can be done and you can keep moving forward. So by using the word mistake, by taking this dimension of modaha, the mistaking or erring, you drop off all the judgments. See, when you do your sadhana, so many negativities will come out. What all mistakes you did in the past will come out. Because all that is stored within you. So you will become more aware. At that time, you should not become judgmental about yourself and lose your self-confidence. So that's why when you say, oh, I am a Vimoved Atma, it actually removes all your judgments if you apply this dimension. Okay, I've heard in the past. Now I will correct myself and I will move on. It's a very, very powerful dimension because it removes that block of guilt. When you are too serious about yourself, you will develop a lot of guilt. The moment you become light-hearted, then you can go on correcting yourself and you can keep progressing. So this dimension of modaha, that is being mistaken or erring, helps in removing the guilt. Because no one is free of mistakes. No one is free of faults. Everyone will have some fault or other. And for each fault, if you're going to sit and become very serious about it, then you can never be happy. You can never grow. So from today onwards, understand the word sin. Even in Sanskritam they say papaha. Papa means sin. Sin should be understood as an error. The moment you understand it as an error, the judgment goes away. But if you take it in a very serious way, then comes the guilt. And you will sit with the guilt and you will not be able to overcome that at all. And the guilt itself will become a block. You will not be able to move up further. That is why a great Siddha, he said, the guilt of a sin is a greater sin than the sin itself. Beautiful statement, The guilt of a sin is a greater sin than the sin itself. Because it will become a very big block. So these are all the different dimensions of modaha. So when he uses the word vimudhatma, and when you apply it to yourself, and when you start applying these dimensions, now there is a very, very huge possibility of growth. Oh, these are the various areas where I can grow. I can, strive to achieve my potential both at the spiritual level and at the worldly level. I can go on increasing my wisdom because ignorance is one aspect of, one dimension of modaha. I can locate the areas where I'm infatuated, I'm addicted, where I'm dependent for my happiness, and I can start working on those areas. See, these are all different areas where you can start growing. Your whole personality will get a lift. And then, well, what are the things which are causing stress in me? Through sadhana, I will increase the calmness there. Where am I confused? What are the areas where I lose my clarity? So there, through sadhana, I will improve it. Where are the areas where my life is very dull, boring? I will infuse more life there. See, these are all going to improve the quality of your sadhana. Wherever I have not lived up to my potential, how silly have I been? And the areas where I'm feeling so guilty about, okay, I've committed an error. So when you apply these different dimensions, actually if you apply even one or two of these dimensions, you will find a big difference, a big positive change in your personality, and automatically that will start yielding wonderful results in life. But as a sadhak, if you practice as many as possible of the various principles which are being given to you, the effects are only going to keep enhancing. So first take up whatever inspires you. Start practicing that. Then the rest of the things also will follow. Okay? So, one who sits restraining the organs of action but mentally thinks of the objects of senses, that vimodhatma, that deluded person. We have translated it as deluded person, but I have given you all the deeper principles. So you will be able to appreciate that. That deluded person, mithyacharaha sah uchyate, is called a mithyachara. Mithyachara means a hypocrite. Another powerful word he uses. I told you, this verse is full of hammers. With different hammers, he'll be hitting your ego. When we use the yogic approach, for each hit we are seeing many dimensions also. So either you will run away, or if you manage to stay, you will get transformed. That choice is yours only. So what does he mean by mithyachara? We have translated it as a hypocrite. We will go into the depth of that. So mithyachara means mithya achara. That is combined to form the word mithyachara. So achara means conduct. Mithya means kind of an illusion. Or right now we'll take it as something which is improper, wrong. An illusory conduct. What is he talking about? Illusion. What is the illusion he's talking about here? The hypocrite means what? You are someone inside and you portray yourself as someone else. That is called hypocrisy. When there is a dichotomy between what you are really and what you portray yourself to be, then you are called a hypocrite. Now, he doesn't merely use the word mithya. He says mithya achara. The conduct itself is illusory. The expression. Why is he saying that? See, fundamentally, what is spirituality? If you were to ask me to define spirituality in a very simple way, I would say spirituality means just being pure, simple and straightforward. That simplicity. If you have all kinds of impurities and motives with it, but externally you are putting on a big act, that is a very artificial, non-spiritual life. See, we assess spirituality based on the expressions, achara. That is why he is using that word achara, which qualifies that word mithya. Actually, merely using the word mithya itself gives the principles, but he is deliberately connecting it to the conduct of a person, the expressions of a person. Why? Because our minds always go by expressions only. See, how do you judge a person? Based on the various expressions, the dress which he wears, the way he talks, the way he acts. That is how you form a judgment. But a spiritual person, a master, does not form any opinions like that based on merely the expressions. A master always sees whether the expressions of a person and the inner nature of a person are matching. See, today you are unable to see that because you don't have the clarity, you don't have the penetrative ability. You're not able to penetrate and read the inner personality, what is happening at the mental level, at the intellectual level of a person. So since all that is hidden to you, you have not spiritually elevated yourself to and developed your penetrative ability, you merely go by the expressions. So you see, all the time you are only relating to expressions of others. If a person behaves in a particular way, you immediately form a particular opinion. If a person behaves in a different way, you form another opinion. That is why if you read the law, you will find that the very foundations of law are that just because a person commits an action, immediately we should not brand that person and give a punishment. They analyze and go into the depth of it. They see the motives, they see the circumstances, what are all there, and accordingly the various punishments are given. Why all that exercise? Because of this only. The inner nature is hidden. So when you are functioning in life, you can hide your inner nature up to a point. That's what he's trying to say. Mithyachara. Being a hypocrite means you wear a mask. Everyone wears masks. You are not whatever you are. That is, what you are portraying is not what you are. You are someone deep within you. But when you interact with the world, you are portraying yourself as somebody else. And the other person is unable to read your motives and all that today. But how long can you wear a mask and continue? He says beyond a point it's not possible. A person who is hypocritical, at some point or other, his actions will reveal what his true motives are. There is a very interesting a story which I have read when I was in school. That is, a person, he came to the king and he said, I can speak 100 languages very fluently. Can anyone in this court, can he find out what is my mother tongue? So all the poets, everyone came and they tried. They different languages. In every language he was so fluent. that no one was able to find out his mother tongue. It became a prestige issue for the king, because here is a person who's challenging. See, generally when you speak your mother tongue language, you also think in that same language. Now, when you are not, when you don't have mastery over some language, but you are speaking, you will not naturally think in that language. But this person had mastered 100 languages to such an extent where impromptu, without any problem, he was able to think, feel, and speak in that language. So much of mastery he had gained. So then, the wise minister, he said, no problem, you give us one day, I will find out. So the man said, fine. So next day, when again all of them assembled in the court and the minister came, that man was also there. And the king asked the minister, so have you found out his mother tongue? He said, yes, I have found out his mother tongue. And what is it? So he gave a particular language and said, this is his mother tongue. And that man himself was so surprised, because nobody ever had found out what his mother tongue was. And that man was so surprised. He came and, he fell at the minister's feet and he said, I bow down to your wisdom and I accept defeat. I'll have to gain more mastery. And he bowed down to the king and he said, this is the first time I've been defeated. I will take it up as a challenge. I will improve my language more. And he went away. And everybody clapped, and everyone was so happy. Then the king caught hold of the minister and he said, now tell me the secret. How did you find out what that person's mother tongue was? The process. And then the minister revealed his approach. He said, very simple. See, when he was talking in various languages, I observed him very minutely. He had gained complete mastery over all the languages which he was speaking. So he was thinking in that language, he was feeling and speaking. So it was impossible to find out what his mother tongue was. But what I did was, when he was sleeping in the night, they had given him a room. So when he was sleeping in the night, I went with my assistant there. And I asked my assistant to take a needle and prick somewhere. Prick the body of that person. And the moment the assistant pricked, that man was sleeping, and when he felt the shooting pain, immediately he shouted. Whatever language came out, that has to be his mother tongue, because he was not conscious there. What was truly his mother tongue came out. Like if your mother tongue is Tamil, you'll say, Ayyo, you'll say that. It just, what you are most comfortable with will come out naturally. And then we came back. And that was a language which I mentioned as his mother tongue in the court. And the king was very surprised at the wisdom of his minister. What does this story teach us? What is the moral behind the story? We need to, it is mithyachara. See, whatever be your expressions, you can cover up, you can do all that. But in your weakest moment, you will not be able to cover your expressions. You cannot continue in the same lines forever. That is why, if you want to truly become spiritual, you should drop all your hypocrisy. Why can't you just be yourself? There is a uniqueness about you, about your personality. But you always want to be somebody else. Why is that? Because of a complex. Why can't you be yourself and celebrate that? Be happy about that. See, if you take the entire nature, it has no hypocrisy. A rose blooms. It's so happy and content to bloom as a rose. A jasmine blooms. It is so happy and content to be a jasmine. A rose never wants to be a jasmine. A jasmine never wants to be a rose. There is no hypocrisy. Whereas as a human being, you are never happy with yourself. You are never content with being yourself. Again, don't take it in a tamasic way. I'm not saying I have all these negativities, I'll practice no hypocrisy, so let me be there. No, that's why we have talked so much about growth. But at any stage, I'm saying you have certain uniqueness about you. If you take a newborn baby, what gives that charm to the newborn baby? Why is it that all babies are so charming, so lovable? Because there is no hypocrisy there. If a baby smiles, the smile is coming from the deepest layers of the child's personality. Whereas, as you grow, you train yourself. Your lips will smile, but your motive will be, you will be very agitated or angry. These kinds of hypocritical techniques is what you learn. So you will have to now unlearn all these things and become very, very simple and integrated. You should become like a child, like a baby. That is what is true spirituality. That is what is purity. You take the entire nature. Supposing the cuckoo sings, it's so wonderful for us. Now, cuckoo is very happy. If you take a crow, the crow is happy, shouting in its own way. See, we have a complex. So if a person doesn't sing properly, we say, why are you now singing like a crow? We are imposing our complexes there. But a crow does not have any complex in being a crow. It's very happy. The sun is shining, so happy. The river is flowing, so happily it's flowing. Every aspect of nature is expressing itself. It's expressing its uniqueness. And is so happy doing that. Every creature is very natural. It is only a human being who has been given the choice, and he or she uses the choice improperly and turns into a hypocrite. Mithyachara. Beautiful word. Very, very powerful word. Now you will have to use that choice which has been given to you to remove all the hypocrisies, to remove off all your masks. And you should learn to be yourself. And the day you are yourself, that is the day you can change for the better. When you are hiding yourself, you can never change. See, you can hide yourself from everyone, But you can't hide yourself from your own conscience. You can't hide yourself from your guru also, because he can see through. But he's not going to tell you unless you want to change. So when a student approaches a master, he is approaching with all the masks. The master will not give any guidance. The master does not go by the expressions of the student, but he goes by what the nature of the student is. So internally you have a lot of ego, resistance and all that, but externally you are bowing down. The master will not look at this act and immediately he will not he will not react based on that. He will look at what is behind that expression. So this is a very, very powerful sadhana message which I am giving you today. That is, remove all your masks and learn to be yourself. We are not talking about going and telling others and all that. We are only talking of an internal feeling. The moment you start comparing yourself with others and you are in that competition, race, then you have lost your uniqueness. You have lost your beauty. Any creative person will not be in that race. There's nothing. There's no one with whom he or she will compete, because creativity means uniqueness. Does a rose ever compete with a jasmine? Or forget jasmines. Does one rose compete with another rose? Okay, let me be more beautiful than my neighboring rose. There's nothing like that. You have your own uniqueness. You have your own beauty. It's very interesting. Have you ever thought about this? There is no one else who is exactly like you in this universe. Not now. The entire history, if we take, there was no one exactly like you. And if you go forward in the future also, there will never be someone who is exactly like you. So you are unique. You are that one unique existence in this entire span of time. If you just think about this, it is mind-boggling. Whatever if complexes you have, everything will go away. You should not develop a superiority complex. Why will you not develop a superiority complex if you apply this correctly? Oh, I am unique, I am great. You will never say that. Yes, if you are unique, so is your neighbor unique. So is the person next to you unique. So everyone is unique in his or her way. So the moment you understand that you are a special person, you are a special piece of creation in this entire time frame, so are others also. So is every aspect of life. So you gain a lot of self-respect. You respect yourself and you also respect others. No one is inferior or superior here. All the superiority, inferiority is all artificially created by the ego. So the moment you understand that, you will lose all your hypocrisy. What is there to be hypocritical about? You will be so happy just being yourself. How much of time you are wasting in trying to compare yourself with others. What is that person having? What is that person wearing? I know people who, go and buy things because their friends are having that. It could be jewelry, it could be a cell phone, it could be a car, it could be the dress also. One celebrity has one kind of hairstyle. Immediately all the followers, fans also go for that hairstyle. Without even thinking, now what will suit me? I am myself. That hairstyle suited that person. The word fan, some people, I'm a fan to this actor, I'm a fan to this person, I'm a fan to. The word fan is a short form of fanatic. Please understand. And the moment you're a fanatic, it means you've stopped thinking. You're gotten into the state of being a vimodhatma. You're too infatuated. So if you want to become a yogi, this is a fundamental quality. You need to drop all your hypocrisy. It's a process, gradual process. I'm not saying overnight you'll be able to drop all your masks and you'll become free. If that is possible, then there is no necessity for all this sadhana, daily sadhana and weekly Sunday discourses and all that. It's a gradual process. But you need to understand the principle. That desire to impress others comes because of this hypocrisy. The moment you want to impress anyone, it means you are a mithyachara. Okay, so we'll stop with that. Very, very powerful message. One hammer has been taken and he has hit you. Now we will continue on the next week. What are we going to continue? We're going to take more hammers. I'm going to take more hammers and hit you more. That is what is this whole Bhagavad Gita going to be. Now you should have the strength to face that and use it for your benefit. Okay, so before we do the Nididhyasana meditation, I will take up one question. This question has been asked by Krishna Vijayaraghavan from California. He's put it in the YouTube comment section. So, Hari Om, respected Master, in verse 6, you said to use the 5 organs of perception and the 5 organs of action to divinize each experience. So I was thinking about this while I was getting a haircut. I could see, hear, smell and feel the haircut. I was sitting, so I was using the hands and legs for that. I told the person cutting my hair what type of haircut I wanted, so I was using the mouth. How do I uplift myself through this entire experience? Thank you. Now, yes, it was said you should use your 5 organs of perception, 5 organs of action to divinize every experience, and you should grow experience by experience. Now you should understand the spirit of that. It's not that in every experience you will be able to use all the senses. See, we gently, as a principle, we say, use all the 5 senses when you are experiencing the world. But in certain experiences, you will not be able to use certain sense organs. So there you should not artificially now look for something. See, what the principle of that is, you miss the principle and you're getting into the non-essential details. The principle of that is, be fully in your present experience. Be fully aware and alert. See, anything which you're doing, it could be eating, it could be having a haircut, whatever it is, we allow the mind to keep wandering away to so many things. So the sadhana there is to be fully present in the present moment. Sometimes it may be 1 sense organ, sometimes it may be 2, 3, 4, 5, how many ever senses you can use, that depends upon the type of that experience. But the focus is not on what are all the different sense organs and it's not that. The focus is on collecting your mind and being fully there in the present moment. That's all. Because if you're going to go into this detailed analysis like this, you will miss the beauty of that experience. See, supposing you're listening to music. Even let us take the Yoga Sankirtan itself. You're doing the sadhana. Now what do I always say? Just place your palms like this and close your eyes and do the deep breathing. That's what is always suggested, no? And then you should go with the flow of that energy. You're fully present there. That is the principle. But if you're going to analyze, now my ears are hearing, my brain is registering, and I'm feeling the vibration. If you get into that kind of analysis, now you will no longer enjoy that experience. You're watching a movie. Now all your senses should be there. Your alertness, awareness should be there. You fully experience that. Now my eyes are seeing, my ears are hearing the audio, and I'm discussing about that with my friend. Like that, if you start analyzing the detail, now you will no longer enjoy the movie. Actually, life will become too complicated for you. See, this is called over-analysis. So I request all the sadhaks not to get into this mode of over-analysis when you are experiencing life. Life is very simple. There is nothing to analyze so much. See, in the Sunday discourse, I am analyzing in order to explain to you these principles, deeper principles of life. But when you are actually going through that experience, you don't need to go through this full analysis. Then your life will become too complicated. Just go through your life with the flow. Do things whenever they are supposed to be done. There is a time for everything. There is a time for eating, there is a time for sleeping, there is a time, similarly in your life itself, there is a time where you get into a relationship. You may want to marry, there is a time where you may want to go in for children, there is a time where you want to do a particular activity. So just go with that flow, natural flow of life. At every step, if you get into this over-analysis, then it will not work. You will not be able to live your life fully. So when you are experiencing experience, don't analyze. This analysis, if you are using the power of analysis to understand what has been given here, that is different. But if you are constantly analyzing each and every experience which you are going through, then you will not be able to go through that experience in a natural way. You will be cutting yourself, cutting the flow. Is this clear? So the answer to that is this only. Stop the over-analysis and just go through with life in a simple, natural way and keep building your awareness through sadhana. Naturally it will start coming. There is nothing more to that. Many things are told in the Sunday discourses to inspire you, to make you understand things in a deeper way. But when it comes to practice, understand the principle and practice that. Don't get into the non-essentials, or definitely over-analytical mode should be avoided if you want to be peaceful. See, you're just having a haircut. Everybody will go and have a haircut. Even if your awareness is a little less, it's okay. At least some enjoyment you'll. And if you get into all this analysis and know how to uplift myself out from a haircut, little bit of peace which you had earlier, at least when somebody was doing a haircut for you, you were just sitting and relaxing. Now that is also gone. Unnecessarily. Now life has become so complicated. So My request is it shouldn't happen that way. This is not a message only for the person who asked this question, this is for everybody else also. Lead a very simple and natural life and keep absorbing and practicing these principles. That's all. Okay? So now we'll do the meditation. Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. With every breath, I'm getting into a state of total relaxation. Feel the divine vibrations. With every breath, I'm going deeper and deeper into myself. Beyond my physical body, beyond my various emotions, beyond my various thoughts, lies my true essential self. my higher self is infinite and divine. From this moment onwards, I choose to be extremely happy with being myself. I am Swayam Prakashit, self-illuminating. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes, rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, cheeks, forehead, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. So today's session was very deep. It's going to become more deep. Mithyaachar, when he says drop all your masks, all your hypocrisy. He's cutting the root of the problem. It's amazing. And remember, absorb all these principles, reflect on them, and then go through with your life in a natural way. I'm very glad that Krish had asked that question about divinizing every experience. Because it is only when you practice like that, as I told you, make a mistake, you learn, then go forward. That's how it's going to be. So, the important thing is to absorb everything and then go through with your life in a natural way. You will slowly find the quality of your experiences will start increasing. Okay? Today's meditation was also very intense because, as I told you, I'm preparing you for the blast of energy on that particular session which we are going to have on Guru Purnima. So keep doing your sadhana regularly. As I told you, if you don't want to help yourself, then nobody can help you, whether it's a guru or God or remember that. Okay, so we'll go further next week. So thank you very much. Hari Om.